I'm Kat and I play red. How many times have we all looked in the sky to see strange and interesting shapes in the clouds? Maybe you're looking at Eryantis. Eryantis is from Cranio Creations and designed by Leo Colavini. Eryantis is a magical world of floating islands, and it's home to cute red dragons, clumsy pink fairies, mean yellow gnomes, small blue unicorns and green toads who dream of becoming princes. Let's have a look at how it plays. In Eryantis, players will be running one of the great magic schools and competing to increase their fame and build new branches inside magic towers. The player who builds all of their towers first will be the most influential wizard and will win the game. The game is played over a number of rounds until either one player has placed all of their towers or there are no more students left in the bag. Each round has two phases, the planning phase and the action phase. The planning phase has 2 steps. The first thing you're going to do is add new students to the cloud tiles. So we have 3 on each tile. The second part of the phase is to play assistant cards in turn order. Each player starts with a deck of assistant cards. These are horribly out of order. That's okay. 4. Each deck of cards is the same. You cannot play the same card someone else has played in the round. The card you play will determine 3 things. Each card has 2 numbers, the card value and the movement points. The card value determines the turn order of the action phase and the first player for the next round. Once all players have revealed their cards, move on to the action phase. So I'm going to place my cat because I love him. Look, he's awesome. So I'm going to place that, and my opponent is going to place number 9, the elephant. So I have the lowest card value, so I will get to go first. There are 3 steps to the action phase. Firstly, I get to move 3 students from my entrance to either my dining room or onto islands. So I'm going to begin by placing in the dining hall. When you place in the dining hall, always place to that side. I'm going to place 2 there, and I'm going to place a fairy on this spot here, which you'll understand why in a minute. Now check to see if you have the majority for any of the colours on the board. Now, seeing as my opponent hasn't played yet, I have the majority for the toads. So I gain the professor and I have the majority on the pink fairies. So I gain that professor. These professors mean I'm going to gain influence on any islands with pink fairies or green toads. Whenever you place a student onto an island, you're going to affect the influence here for whoever has that professor. Now I've placed the students, I get to move Mother Nature. Now, Mother Nature must be moved at least 1 space up to a maximum of what it shows on your card. So I can move her up to 2 spaces. In this case though, I only want to move her 1. So now Mother Nature's been moved, one of two things will happen. Because she's ended her movement on an island with no tower, the player with the most influence there gets to place a tower. If influence is tied, no one gets it. Now, because I have the pink professor here, essentially I have 2 influence on this island. I have the majority. I get to place a tower. Alternatively, an island may be conquered. If, for example, my opponent had this, because Mother Nature has ended her turn on an island tile with a tower, we check for influence. And in this case, I have it. So my tower goes on and White's tower goes back to their board. Be careful when you do this, because it can be that you land somewhere and knock yourself off an island, which we have done, which is not fun. When you check influence, where a tower is, a tower actually counts as 1 point of influence. So in this case, I'd have 1, 2 for my fairies, 1 for my tower. So I have 3 influence on this tile. Each island tile can only have 1 tower. After you've built a tower, be it through the initial placement of a tower or from conquering, double check the islands either side. If, for example, I had a tower here with the red, so by law that should be mine, these islands will merge to form 1 big island. At this point, when Mother Nature is moving, this would count as 1 space, and then she'd move onto here. But I'm not quite that strong yet. Lastly, after moving Mother Nature, we're going to take a cloud tile. So I can either take 1 dragon, 2 toads, or 2 gnomes and 1 dragon. Now I can see my opponent has a lot of yellow already, so I might decide to let them keep the yellow, take these 3 students and pop them onto my player board. At the beginning and end of your turns, you should always have 7 students. Once all players have completed their turn, the round will end and you'll begin the next turn with the player who played the lowest card. So in this case, it would be me. So my opponent, if I played, say, this little pupper at 8, my opponent then has the choice of whether they want to play a card lower than me in order to do their actions first, or to play something higher and play after me. In this case, they're going to play a 2, so they'd get to do the actions first in the next round. So let's quickly just have a look at some examples. If I was to place 3 students, I'm going to place 2 green on here, and then I'm going to place a green in my dining room to try and ensure that I keep control of that green. I could then move Mother Nature 2 spaces and I'd get to put a tower there as I have the most influence. Play continues in this way until a player plays their last tower, or until there are only 3 islands left on the table, which is quite a feat, but if we were down to 3 islands, that's still more. The the game would end immediately. If there are no more students left in the bag, play continues until the end of that round. Eryantis is predominantly a 2 or 3 player game. It does have a 4-player team mode. Honestly, I'm not a huge fan of team games. However, it works beautifully at 2 players. It definitely, despite the gorgeous artwork, the gorgeous theming, the fact that all these tokens have cutouts relevant to the creatures they're describing. So the blue is the unicorns, the red is the dragons, and that's got the little flame. Despite all of that, it definitely has the feel of an abstract strategy game. You're trying to get majorities, keep control. It's area control, but it's done really nicely. Keep an eye on what your opponent's doing, what they've got in their entrance, because I've had it happen a few times where I've moved Mother Nature and I've given my opponent a tower, which really sucks. If you have a big island that is all joined together, all of the influence on that island would be added together. So if my opponent had control of the fairies, the pink fairies, they'd be really close to getting a majority and wiping out all of my towers. And then they could come in and put 4 towers on that island. So it is very competitive, despite the cute theme. Eryantis also has an expert mode. At the start of the game, you're going to draw some character cards and choose one to keep. So they all have different abilities. So this one, for example, means when you're checking influence on an island, the towers aren't worth anything. This one allows you to move Mother Nature an extra 2 spaces. This one, you're going to pop some students on the card at the start of the game, and you can activate it to place them on islands. Now, all of these cards have a cost in the top here. When you have enough students in your dining hall, so let's go back to my pinks. When I place there, I'm going to get a coin. The coins then allow you to activate your cards. So this one only costs 1 to activate. However, the second time you activate it, it will cost you 2. The next time, it will cost you 3. And that's the same for even some of these, which are really expensive. This one will cost you 3 coins on the first activation, then 4, then 5. So there is an advanced mode if the base game hasn't got enough bite for you. It's a lot of fun. It's very pretty. The theme is lovely. Check it out. It's available now. Eryantis from Cranio Creations. We picked this up at Spiel, so I imagine it's going to be coming soon. Cranio are a European company, so it may actually be for once that it's available in Europe before US. The horror. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, click like and subscribe. Come and say hello on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I play red. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.